Hi, this is David Armstrong with another of our Fifth Avenue Theater Musical Theater Factory vlogs, and I'm joined today by our resident musical theater expert, Albert Evans. We're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming production of A Room with a View. We're so excited about it. It's a brand new musical, another in our series of new musicals. And one of the main characters in A Room with a View is the city of Florence. And Albert and I, and actually 4 of us from the Fifth Avenue Theater, had the opportunity to travel to Florence late last year, actually. And we had a chance to experience the city much in the same way that the characters in A Room with a View are going to experience the city. So we thought we'd share with you some of our adventures there and our view of the city and some of the photos that we took along the way. So Albert, let's talk about Florence. Florence, there's a reason that so many books and so many characters in books travel to Florence to experience life. Why is that?
Well, first of all, it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It's the capital city of the region of Tuscany, and it's a world center of art and culture because it was the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance, which started just before 1400 and lasted for like a century and a half. But during that time, the Medicis were the leading citizens of the town and basically controlled the town. And they sponsored every artist you can think of: Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Botticelli, all of the greats. Of course, the city is dominated by the Duomo, the largest church in Italy at the time, with that amazing pink and green marble exterior.
And that enormous dome that was impossible to build, and they figured out a way to build it.
Yeah, an enormous brick dome. Yeah, they took about a century, I think, after they started building the church. They hadn't quite figured out at the beginning how to make the dome, but they eventually did. And it's incredible.
Where was this? The place they stay in the novel is called the Hotel Bertolini, or the Pensione Bertolini, and which is something that E.M. Forster, who wrote the novel, made up. But it was based on a real place, and we were determined to track down the pensione that he had stayed in with his mother, that he then based the Pensione Bertolini on. And we were able to find it. With the help of some guidebooks and some maps, we were able to find it. I think we have a photo of me standing outside the Hotel Bertolini, at least the one that's in our novel, and being able to experience what Lucy Honeychurch and the others would have experienced. And surprisingly enough, it was right on the Arno. It has a spectacular view. Looking out over the Arno, you can see the Ponte Vecchio, the bridge, the famous bridge that goes across the Arno from there. And you can look out over the hills of Tuscany to the south, basically. And that's the view that they wanted from that room. And like most Italian cities, the neighborhoods are grouped around these various piazzas, which are basically public squares. And we traveled to all of them as when we were there.
Yeah.
The first one that Lucy goes to, and the first one we'll talk about today, is the Piazza Santa Croce. And in the novel, several events happen there. And then after she goes to Santa Croce and they go to the Piazza della Signora, they feel like it's time to get out of the city, especially after this murder has happened, and they go to Fiesole. It takes about 45 minutes on the bus. If you went in the carriage, the way Lucy and the characters in the show do, probably took a couple hours to get there. So it's an easy day trip to the countryside, looking out over Florence in a spectacular kind of way.
It had also originally been a Roman garrison town just in the early years. And there are still Roman ruins. There's a great amphitheater that's still there.
We might have a picture of Albert and I doing a little bit of a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum in the Roman amphitheater.
We took that opportunity to bring our culture to Fiesole.
But the first act of our musical climaxes in Fiesole. If you were familiar with the movie, you'll remember the moment where Lucy and George finally kiss on the hillside in Fiesole. And that's where we end our first act as well. I'm excited for you to see the show, to see how our amazing designers, our set designers, Walt Spangler, has taken, in some ways influenced by our photos of our trip, to put Florence on our stage. And I think in a spectacular, imaginative, not a completely realistic way, but in a very expressionistic and fulfilling way. So we hope that you'll come see A Room with a View, and we hope that we've given you a little taste of what it was like to visit Florence and how Florence impacts this musical. Thank you so much. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you, David.
See you next time.